there, this is Nancy Ekpezu, your girl in administration and management. Okay, so today I'll be talking about developing strong work ethics. I'm so sorry, it's been a while I did a video because I've been so busy working on my next book, which will be out next year. Keep your fingers crossed because you will hear the announcement soon. And I'm so happy I've not yet disclosed the title of this book. I've already asked people to start guessing, so you might want to guess in the comments. Okay, so to today's business, developing strong work ethics. In all of the schools where I have worked, all of the organizations, one of the things that is always said about me when I've left is that I have strong work ethics. And I must say that this did not happen just haphazardly. It was actually intentional at some point in my career. So yes, you might have a great degree, you might be looking really nice and tuition and professional, but if you do not make the effort to develop strong work ethics, it's going to show in the way that you go about doing your job. And so today I would like to focus on this topic, so stay with me. And I think I prepared just a few slides in a hurry to do this because I'm about going out to deliver books to send my books to Conga delivery services that where I use for my deliveries. And so I thought to just do this quickly before I hop out of the house. So yes, let's go, let's go, let's go. Where am I? Let me share the slides with you. Yep. So we're here. Ta-da. I think I should make this reading view. That's that would be okay? Or is it reading view or what should I do? Let me see. Should I make it reading view or which one would be better? Is it reading view or slideshow? Let me try slideshow. Okay, now let's make it reading view. Let's make it reading view. Let's make it reading view. Okay, so stop slideshow. I hope I'm in the right place. All right, stop. Show present view. Is this what I need? Or is this what I want? Okay, let's keep it at that for now. Oh, okay. I think I'm fine with this. I hope you're fine too. If you're not, let me know in the comments so that I'll do it differently next time. So to the topic for today, developing strong work ethics. Developing strong work ethics. Yeah, if you're just meeting me for the first time, I am Nancy Ekpezu, and I'm the lead consultant at Pezu Smith Consulting. I'm the author of 3 amazing books, Dear Educator, The School Administrator's Companion, and Effective Boarding House Administration. Okay, so, and my next book will be out in 2023, so watch out for it. And in 2020, I was named a global educational influencer. And in 2021, I was featured among 100 admired people in education. And in 2022, I was actually featured among Shiro's most inspiring women. Ooh, that's a place to clap for me. All right, and this was all by the Excelligent magazine, by the Excelligent group in Asia. And I'm also a TEDx speaker, and I've spoken at several conferences and very reputable platforms, including international conferences and summits. Incidentally, this morning I just spoke at a summit organized by some people in Malaysia. I just finished my session and I said, let me hop in here to do this. Okay, and it's called the Global Education Summit, GES. You might want to watch out for it on my YouTube. If I'm given a link to it, I'll share. Okay, I've also been an administrator in 4 reputable schools in 4 cities in Nigeria. And on my last job, I led a team of over 100 employees in a group of schools managed by a very reputable multinational. I reside in Lagos, Nigeria, where I run my company, but I'm free to travel any part of the world. And this year alone, I've done about 9 trips. I've been to Abuja 6 times. I've been to Calabar once. I trained a school there. I've been to Enugu. I trained a school there, and I'm currently recruiting for them. I also worked with a school in Akure all this year. And in Abuja, I've done several schools this year, training on boarding house administration, ethics, professionalism, customer service, boarding house admin, so many things. So I'm your go-to person for all of these topics I've mentioned. And if you need to know more about what you can do with me, please visit my website, www.nancyekpezu.com. That is where you are going to get to know about me. Yeah. So I'm going to start right away. What's going on with this slide? Stop sharing. Let me reshare this because there seems to be an issue. I don't really understand. Okay, so I will be doing another view. Instead of reading view, let me see what I can do. No, let me do reading view. I think I'm more comfortable with this. Okay, so we're starting. I'm wondering why this. Okay, I think we're here now. We're here. Okay, sorry about that little glitch, technology. All right, so we're looking at this. What are ethics? I'm talking about developing strong work ethics. But what are ethics? I would say ethics simply refer to a set of moral principles, values, and attitudes around how we act in the workplace, how we behave towards one another, how we behave towards our subordinates, towards our bosses, towards colleagues, how we treat work properties and facilities. And all of these will vary depending on your organization or your company culture. But there are universally accepted qualities of both good and bad ethics. So you would not say, oh, this is just how I do things here. And then you're practicing poor work ethics and you do not want to change, okay? There are some universally accepted ways of doing things. For example, if you're constantly late to work, no matter your organization's culture, that is not acceptable. If you're constantly not meeting deadlines, that is not acceptable. If you abuse subordinates and shout on them, if you don't display emotional intelligence, that is not good work ethics. If your work is always full of errors, everything you send in as a secretary, they must correct them 100 times, and then it's not fit to go out of your organization, that's not good work ethics. Okay. Okay, so let's go on. So let's look at work ethics. I don't want this video to be too lengthy, so I just put a few highlights here and I'm going to be explaining each of them, okay? So let's look at good work ethics. What would you say good work ethics are? I think one of the elements would be reliability and dependability. Are you reliable? Can people depend on you to meet deadlines? Can your boss say, or the school board, if you're in the top management team, can the board say, well, if I hand this thing over to Nancy, it will be done? Incidentally, that has been said about me in places I have worked. Yeah. Okay, so are you reliable? Are you dependable? Can people depend on you that if they commit a project to you, it is going to be delivered, executed, and delivered as and when due? Will you do that? Okay, so reliability is one good thing you want to develop in your work ethics. Very, very important to be described as someone who is reliable. Okay. Another would be, do you set professional boundaries? Some people do not know professional boundaries in the workplace. I heard of someone, in fact, someone inboxed me once on social media to ask what she should do. A colleague of hers slapped her on the butt and thought that was such a nice joke. And she didn't take it funny. She didn't find it funny at all. As a matter of fact, she took it personally. And I could imagine, because I would feel the same way if that was done to me. So do you define professional boundaries? Even if you're chummy or friendly with people in the workplace, I think that there is a boundary, okay? There really is a boundary. So do you set, this is what is S. Do you set professional boundaries with colleagues and bosses and your subordinates, or do you let the line be so thin that anything is allowed? You slap someone's butt, you send emails that are X-rated or not decent to them, and you think that's fine, or you just forward WhatsApp messages with all kinds of things, maybe nude people and all of that. That's not professional. So you have to set good professional boundaries in your work ethics. Okay. All right. So that means you should even know the space to talk to someone. Do you know that it's very rude to be in someone's personal space when you're talking to them, whether you're their boss or their subordinate or their colleague? You know, someone leaning on your table and just speaking over you and their spit is almost falling on you. That's so unethical, very unprofessional. So you need to set professional boundaries, both emotionally, physically, and in every way to make sure that it's a safe work environment for everybody who works with you. So please do not be that colleague who slaps a female or a male on the board and think that it's such a good joke, no matter how charming and friendly you are with them. Don't also take people's items without letting them know. In as much as they belong to the company, if they have been assigned to somebody, you have no business going to their desk and just taking their laptop without asking for their permission. All of these have to do with personal boundaries. So you must set personal boundaries. And also, you do not take relationships in the office for granted. Just because people relate with you in the office, they smile with you and share jokes and share drinks, it doesn't mean you just barge into their lives, into their homes uninvited or whatever. You have to set professional boundaries with your colleagues, with your bosses, with your subordinates. I hope that this helps. The next thing would be productivity. How productive are you? Do you know that in a bid to socialize in the workplace, some people overdo it? Yes, we do not want a stiff workplace where it's all work, 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 work. I think people should be relaxed enough to share a coke, share a malt, and just relax in the workplace, have fun while they work. But do you let that override your productivity? How productive are you when if you have work hours from 8 o'clock to 5 p.m., for example, how much do you achieve within those hours? Okay. Do you spend the time gisting and trying to chat your colleagues and get into very relevant things during your day instead of staying productive? Do you deserve your day's work? Let's put it that way. At the end of the day, if your employers knew all of the things you spent your seconds, your minutes, your hours, and the entire day at work doing, would they be glad to pay you your day's wages or salaries? Think about it. What do you spend your time doing? How productive are you? Do you focus on the core activities that you should be focusing on as a professional? Or do you get distracted and spend the time doing other things that are not meant to be done? I remember on my last job, people would tell me, if you're going to Miss Nancy's office, make sure that it's something professional. So if you were coming to my office and you wanted to bring up some gist, maybe gossip about someone, I'll first ask you, can we reschedule this, or is it something important? And the moment you start gossiping, you just see that my face changes, and I'll tell you, I'm so busy. Can we talk about that later? And of course, later means that you're not allowed to talk about this in my office, because the rule was let's focus on work issues. And if you had personal issues, for example, you wanted to discuss with me, that was fine. I would listen to you and keep it confidential. But what I didn't like was using my office time and people want to barge into your office as a boss to gossip and tear down someone and do all of the things that do not add any value to your position. So ask yourself, the things you do daily, do they add value to your position? Are they productive? Are you glad at the end of the day that you spent your time doing these things? Are there things you would do all over again? How productive are you? Write it down and ask yourself and do a self audit. How productive are you daily? Another thing I want to highlight here, do you have an ownership mentality towards the business? If you work in a school, a multinational, a hospital, wherever, okay, a hotel, do you have an ownership mentality towards your own duties and responsibilities? Do you look at the overall picture and see how your job fits in and how your job fits in and how you're able to, for example, bring in your own uniqueness and productivity to the success of the entire organization. So how do you treat the organization? Do you treat it like it's yours? If you treat an organization like it's yours, you will not pilfer things that belong to the organization. You would not cut corners. You would not cheat. You would not take bribe on that position. You will look for ways to cut down costs for the organization and not look for your own personal interest. You will let go of toxicity that affects other people's emotional health that will not let them function well. You will play down on toxic politics that will not help. So, do you take the organization as yours? The things that you do, would you do them if this organization were yours? And those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. So take an ownership mentality towards the business. All right. So do you support another thing that will help you in your work ethics is to support other people because we are all looking at achieving all of these things for the organization. So if you look at things holistically and you know that we are all in this together to work for the good of the organization, then you will support others and not pull them down. You know what they call the pull down syndrome? I experienced a lot of that on my last job, sadly enough. And it was just so sad to see people want you to fail, even when you're making all the effort to develop them and to make sure that things are fine. So I ask you again, what do you do? Do you support others? Do you pull them down? When you're pulling them down, you're pulling down the organization. Always remember that, okay? Support others, collaborate, train them, pour yourself out to them so that they can be better. If you have resources that can make others better, be happy to share it with them and don't be the only one that wants to shine, because if you're the only one, that's not going to help the organization. Collaboration is the key. Supporting others to achieve their own goals is also the key. So don't be the one who pulls others down. Okay? There's something they call PDF, pull down syndrome. Don't be among those who do that in the organization. Have a clean heart and release nice energy towards others. Do your job and then watch others prosper as much as you're prospering, and then the organization does well. And if it does well, it's for the common good of all of us in the organization. Always remember that. Now let's look at poor work ethics. We've looked at good work ethics. Those are not all, actually. There's a whole lot more. I'll be sharing more as time goes on, but I don't want this video to be too long. So let's look at poor work ethics. Low work quality. If you've read my book, Dear Educator, or The School Administrator's Companion, you would know that there are no errors in the book. I take so much time into giving quality work in anything that I do. I go on these books, I edited over and over and proofread, and I have several eyes go through them before they come back to me again, and I go through them thoroughly. But are you the kind of secretary whose emails will have 100 typographical errors? Are you the kind of person whose work must always be corrected 100 times? I'm not saying anybody's perfect. We are all a work in progress. I am a work in progress. I'm sure you are a work in progress as well. And nobody is perfect, but please, there is such a thing as excellence. We should aim to be people of excellence, and our work should not be poor quality work. People should look at your work and be happy to be associated with you. Everybody who has read my books, Dear Educator, The School Administrator's Companion, and Effective Boarding House Administration, will always tell you that my books stand out because of the quality of work that I present. And this also was the same thing I did when I was an employee before I started Pencil Smith Consulting. So the work ethics I exhibit now in Pencil Smith Consulting are actually things that I learned when I was working for other people. And I tell people, if you keep turning out poor quality work, do not think that when you start your own company, you will automatically change the work ethics. Because after a while, it becomes a habit, and that becomes you, and you are identified with poor quality work, low quality work. And so if you start your own company, it is what you've accumulated and done over the years that you're going to take into your own company. Always remember that. So do away with low quality work and aim for excellence in all that you do. Be known as someone who delivers excellently. Constant tardiness. You know, some people always have an excuse not to be at work. Oh, my girlfriend's grandmother's dog died years ago, and we are doing the resurrection ceremony. Oh, there is always an excuse. Don't laugh. Oh, yes, my great grandmom was hit by a bicycle in the village and I need to go see her. Oh, the hospital next to mine got burnt and I just need to peep at it and see what's going on there. There is always a reason. I have news for you. In all of the schools I worked, I do not remember taking permission to be away from work unnecessarily. As a matter of fact, there's an organization where I worked for 5 years, and the only 3 times I was away from work, one of them I was traveling out of the country for professional training. Another time I was also traveling out of the country for professional training. And the third time, my brother was getting married, and I just had to be out of that city to fly in to attend the wedding. And I was going to stand in as mother of the day because my mom is late and I had to stand in. And that was a really good reason to be away. 3 times in a whole school year, and only one was due to personal reasons. The others were actually to even advance my career and bring in knowledge that will help the organization. Okay, so do you go to work on time and state your closing? How is your absenteeism? How is your attendance? Do you keep taking excuse to be away from work every now and then? There's always one excuse, there's always a reason to be away. You shouldn't have excuses to be away from work. Okay, if unless you're ill or there's something really serious, please take your work seriously, because if you had that organization, you would not want your employees to be away from work every other day. Okay, let's look at the next point, which is lack of attention to deadlines. Are you one of those employees that will constantly have to be chased by their bosses to submit things when there's a deadline? You never meet deadlines, you behave like you don't even know them. Whenever there's a deadline, check it and mark it on your calendar. Luckily, we have digital reminders these days. You have alerts that can remind you. Can have an alert to say, yes, this is what's going on, or this is when you should submit this. You shouldn't have any excuses, and start working on things bit by bit instead of piling them up to the last day in a bid to meet the deadline. So always have deadlines in mind. As a matter of fact, if the deadline is on a Thursday, do not submit the items on the Thursday. Do it the day before, if possible, or a few days before then, if you're already done. Okay, so pay attention to deadlines. It's very, very annoying as a boss to keep chasing people. I can tell you for free. And not every boss knows how to hold people accountably. Luckily, I do. I figured it out along the way. So whenever I give assignments or delegate any tasks to any of my subordinates, I mark it in my diary. I go to Google and set a reminder. A few days before then, I do you an email. And if you do not meet the deadline, it forms part of your performance appraisal, okay? So those are a few things to avoid for bad work ethics. Now let's look at how to develop good work ethics. What do you do? Develop self-discipline. It's very important. Develop self-discipline. You need to discipline your mind, your body, your soul to stay at work. You can be physically present at work and not be there. Just because you showed up for the day doesn't mean that you're actually present wholeheartedly. So discipline yourself to take all of you to work and be present and giving your best daily. Okay, discipline yourself to be at work on time, discipline yourself to stay to closing date. And if you need to take an excuse to be away from work, please let it be for something really important, not for every frivolous reason or flimsy excuse. Learn to prioritize your work daily. I recall when I was an administrator, I had an executive assistant, and usually the day before, every day at the end of the work day, we would sit down and plan the next day so that I already knew what I was going to be facing during the day. And if there were other things that came in, I would see them as either distractions or things that had to be prioritized that just came up. But I always knew what I was intending to achieve every day, and that helped me a lot. That's because I prioritized. So learn to prioritize your work daily. That will help you to stay focused and not spend the time keep chatting or everywhere and being the organization's grapevine. Hold the interest of the team and organization above your personal interest. Incidentally, I worked on a team where I had a subordinate that wanted to form her own community, her own power, her own authority. And she had her personal agenda she was driving and trying to get the staff to go, with her. But, it doesn't take time for these things to show up eventually. I'm sure you know. Sooner or later, things will show up. And I dare say that she got frustrated along the way and had to leave. So always hold the interest of the team and the organization above your personal interest. I boast to say this, but in every organization I've worked in, I always put the organization's interest above my own personal interest. And everywhere I have worked and I've left, I've always left a mark that would make it difficult for anybody to step in. Even when I've trained and groomed people and created a succession plan, you cannot teach people attitudes. You can teach them the skills and the knowledge, but attitudes and other things are things that an individual has to intentionally develop or cultivate for themselves. So hold the interest of the team and organization above your personal interest. That will help you show integrity, and that will help you to be transparent. That will help you to be accountable because you have no hidden agenda. And learn to set professional boundaries. When you take on a job as the boss, let the team know what is allowed and what is not allowed, so that people don't encroach into your personal life and mess up everything, and then you as well encroaching into that. Yes, no boundaries, and all of that. So set professional boundaries. I hope this helps. Yeah. So if you have any questions or comments, add them in the comments and I'll be right back to respond to them. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. And I'm so, so delighted to do this always. Remember to subscribe to this channel for videos on school and workplace administration, professional ethics, performance management, and the likes of it, customer service. Those are my areas, okay? So how do you connect with me? You can contact me on WhatsApp at +234-803-5880367. Visit my website, www.nancyekpezu.com, and subscribe to my blog and check out my products, my online courses, my templates, and all of the things that I have to offer. And I need to let you know that my Connected School Administrators Academy, COSA, the fourth cohort takes off in January, and you want to be a part of it, don't you? Send me a message for further details. Send an email to me at info@nancyekpezu.com. Subscribe to this channel for videos on administration and management. And please join my email newsletters at www.sendfox.com/Nancy Ekpezu. I look forward to connecting with you. And remember to get copies of my 3 books, Dear Educator, The School Administrator's Companion, and Effective Boarding House Administration. And like I told you earlier, there is a new book coming out next year. Don't miss it. Watch out for it. You will love it. All right. So thank you for always being there and for watching my videos and for commenting on it. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already, and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be one of the first to get the video uploads whenever there's a new upload. Until the next video, until I hear from you, it's ciao, ciao for now.